You know that feeling when you wake up and instead of thinking, I'm ready to take on the day, you think, how many more Mondays like this do I really have to do? Maybe it starts as a quiet question while you're brushing your teeth or waiting for your coffee to brew. It's not burnout exactly, it's something deeper. A tug in your chest that says life is shifting, and maybe your priorities are too. If you've ever stared at your work emails and thought, this can't be all there is, then you're not alone. For a lot of us in our 40s, 50s, and early 50s, there's this moment of pause. We've worked hard, built careers, raised families, saved where we could, sacrificed where we had to, and now we're starting to ask, what next? Retirement isn't just about quitting your job and heading to a beach. It's about stepping into a new chapter with clarity and purpose. But how do you know if you're truly ready, or just fed up with your boss? How do you tell the difference between a bad week and a deeper truth that it's time to move on? That's where these 6 questions come in. They aren't about how much money you've saved, or whether your pension plan is perfectly lined up. They're about how your life actually feels right now. If you answer yes to all 6, it might be your heart's way of telling you the next season is ready for you. Let's start with something that might feel a little obvious, but most people ignore it. Have you ever noticed that the work you once loved now feels heavy? Not hard, just dull. Like you're performing a version of yourself that used to fit but doesn't anymore. Maybe you used to thrive in high-stakes meetings, or love the rhythm of your daily routine, but now you find yourself watching the clock, or daydreaming about what you'd do with a full Tuesday afternoon that's actually yours. If that rings a bell, you're not being lazy. You may just be outgrowing the life you once built. And here's the second question that often hits a little harder. Do you find yourself prioritizing peace over achievement? There was a time when chasing promotions or launching big ideas lit you up. But lately, a quiet cup of tea with no interruptions feels more satisfying than any quarterly win. If your heart is craving stillness more than success, it doesn't mean you've lost your edge. It means you've earned the right to evolve. So many of us were taught to define ourselves by what we do, not who we are. That's why walking away from work can feel so intimidating. But the truth is, your worth isn't tied to a job title. You're allowed to change paths, even if the people around you don't fully get it. Sometimes the scariest part isn't leaving. It's giving yourself permission to imagine what life could look like without the pressure of always producing. What if your next great chapter has nothing to prove and everything to enjoy? You know, sometimes we stay longer in roles or routines not because we need to, but because we haven't been asked the right questions. So here's another one. Do you often feel like your time isn't really your own anymore? You wake up, go through the motions, maybe even smile through meetings or errands, but underneath it all, there's this quiet ache that says, I want my days back. Not in a dramatic, throw everything away kind of way, but in a gentle, clear sense that life has more to offer than the same to-do list you've been cycling through for decades. If you've been putting everyone else first for years, kids, clients, coworkers, you might not even realize how far down your name has fallen on your own priority list. And if you've been dreaming about more space for the things that make you feel alive, whether that's painting, traveling, starting a small project, or just waking up without an alarm, then maybe it's not just a fantasy. Maybe it's a plan that's waiting for your permission. And that leads right into the next sign. Have you already done the math more times than you can count? Maybe late at night, calculator in hand, wondering if the savings, pension, or equity add up to freedom. If you've caught yourself saying things like, I think I could make it work, or if I'm careful, I might not need another paycheck, then you're not just curious. You're preparing, and preparation is powerful. Sure, the financials matter. They always will. But sometimes doing the math isn't about fear. It's about readiness. It's your mind catching up to your heart. It's the beginning of a quiet shift from can I to what if I already can. Now, here's something that's harder to measure, but even more important. Do you feel like your energy is more precious than your time? It's a strange moment when you realize you could technically spend 8 hours working, but the cost would be 2 days of fatigue. When we're younger, we think we'll always have bounce back. But midlife teaches us that energy is currency, and we have to spend it wisely. If you've started guarding your mornings, needing more recovery, or feeling drained by things that used to feel easy, it might be your body telling you it's time to switch gears. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about realigning, choosing where your energy goes, saying yes to what fills you up, not what empties you. And finally, the question that tends to stir something deeper. Do you catch yourself picturing your retirement not as an end, but as a beginning? That quiet smile you get when you imagine what it would feel like to be fully in control of your own calendar. The way your shoulders drop when you think about not having to answer emails over the weekend. That spark of curiosity about what else life might have in store if you finally had the space to explore it. If that vision keeps visiting you, not out of desperation, but from a place of calm knowing, then maybe it's not just a dream. Maybe it's a whisper you've been trying to hear for years, and maybe that whisper is saying it's time. And when that whisper gets louder, when it starts showing up in the quiet moments, not just the stressful ones, you begin to realize something important. Your life doesn't need a permission slip. You don't need someone else to validate your decision, or a perfect number in the bank, or every tiny detail figured out. What you do need is clarity. And if every fiber of your being keeps nudging you toward freedom, toward rest, toward you, then clarity might already be knocking. Because here's the thing most people don't talk about. Retirement isn't a reward for burnout. It's not the trophy for surviving stress. It's not what you get only after life has wrung you dry. It can actually be a next chapter chosen with intention, while you still have energy, creativity, and passion to pour into the things you love, while your relationships can still deepen, while your health can still benefit, while your mornings can still feel sacred. Let's be honest. Sometimes we keep working not because we need to, but because we're afraid of what we'll do without the structure, the title, the familiar routine. But that fear? It's natural. And it's also a sign that you've cared deeply, that you've shown up fully, that you've invested in a life of responsibility. But what if the next step isn't about leaving something behind? It's about stepping into something lighter? Think of how many hours you've given others, how many years you've navigated deadlines, meetings, to-do lists, and expectations. You've been reliable, capable. You've carried burdens that no one even knew about. And now, you might be reaching a point where the most responsible thing isn't pushing forward, it's releasing the grip, so you can finally breathe. If all 6 questions lit something up inside you, maybe not loud fireworks, but a subtle click, a quiet truth, you already know the answer. You've known for a while, and maybe all you needed was a voice to reflect it back to you. A gentle, steady reminder that this life is yours, that you get to decide when enough is enough, and when now is the right time to begin again. So if that's where you're at, then let me say this clearly. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to justify it. If you're ready to retire, that's reason enough. Your peace, your energy, your joy, that's enough. And if you're still unsure, that's okay too. Let the questions stay with you. Let them keep you company until you're ready. There's no rush. But when you do feel it, that pull, that peace, that promise of freedom, just know you're not alone. You've earned this. You're allowed to want more. You're allowed to retire now. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. It means more than you know. If something in this conversation resonated with you, or helped you feel seen, validated, or simply a little lighter, please consider giving this video a like. It truly helps more people find content that supports and uplifts them. And if you'd like more gentle guidance, empowering insights, and conversations that matter as you navigate life after 40, 50, or 60, go ahead and subscribe. This community is built on honesty, warmth, and wisdom, just like you. Feel free to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, take care of your time, your peace, and your next chapter. You've got this.